And we welcome you inside the Cam Henderson Center on the campus of Marshall University. ESPN Plus presenting men's college basketball featuring Jackson State and the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Jackson State at 0-3. Marshall is 2-1 on the season. And greetings from Huntington, along with two-time NAIA National Coach of the Year, Bob Boland. Our great ESPN Plus crew, Mark Martin, thanks for joining us. And Bob Boland got a Jackson State team very hungry, looking for a first win of the season. Marshall trying to rebound from a tough loss last week against Campbell.
Both teams coming in off a loss. Tough losses for both teams, and I'm sure both are excited to play here today.
All right, so Darius George there firing up a shot for the Thundering Herd. George coming off a career high 24 points. Jackson State has lost games to Illinois, Louisiana Tech, and California Baptist. Bob, California Baptist, a program you're very familiar with.
Oh, an NAIA school out of California. Jackson, they're on their way to 12 road games.
Yeah. All right, so driving in and scoring is Jonas James III, and gets the first bucket of the basketball game here. Andy Taylor on the move, kicking it to Tavion Kinsey, and Kinsey's shot would not go. And one thing Coach Dan D'Antoni looking for in this game, Bob, obviously better shooting from the three-point line.
Oh, and he said the past 2 days of practice they've shot the lights out. They were 3-24 in their last outing against Campbell, and they're just better shooters than that. He doesn't expect that bad shooting to last.
All right, Marshall will inbounds here, and they get it inside. The shot would not go for Goran Miladinovich, and Jackson State down the floor and firing it up by Isaiah Williams, 6'7", 225-pound graduate student. And now here is Taylor.
Andy Taylor with a nice little floater, soft kiss off the glass.
Taylor coming in, averaging 11 points a game, and that ties things up here at 2-2. Marshall with victories over Wright State, Milligan, and then lost that tough 2-point outing to that Campbell team on Thursday night, a team that had given the Duke Blue Devils all they wanted. Michael Byers from way out, and Byers will connect for the Thundering Herd.
A lot of times that three-point shooting is contagious, and Byers starting the game off with a deep bomb.
Byers giving Marshall a 5-2 edge here. Byers' third three-pointer of the season from the outside. Jackson State trying to trade three-pointers, but that one wouldn't fall for the Tigers. They'll go back to work. Jackson State under ninth-year head coach Wayne Brent. And Coach Brent, boy, great career there, and boy, a great high school head coaching career. Bob won several state championships, and he's done a nice job with this Tiger program, 108 career wins.
And they really recruit the state of Mississippi hard.
Meanwhile, Dan D'Antoni, season number 8, now 130 career wins, second to the great Cam Henderson. They play inside the Henderson Center on a Sunday. Great to have you with us here. Jackson State working it, and George intercepting the pass, and there's a collision at midcourt. We'll have a foul.
Darius George, very quick-handed, really gets in the passing lanes well, able to come up with that steal.
So we'll have a switch here in the lineup for Jackson State, and Gabe Watson, 6'2", junior, averaging 7 a game. He'll check in out of Ridgeland, Mississippi. His father, Orion, played at Mississippi State. 5-2, Thundering Herd lead here. 2 team fouls on Jackson State. Byers is set to be the trigger. We'll get some questioning here at the scorers table. Marshall opening up the campaign, 96-88 winner over Wright State, down Milligan 80-58, and again falling to Campbell 67-65. Third all-time meeting between the two programs. Marshall leads the series 2-0. Tom Harrion and Dan D'Antoni each with a victory. Miladinovich can't get the shot to drop, but here comes Jackson State trying to edge closer here, down 5-2. On the move, driving and flipping it up. Nice basket there by the Tigers. Dylan Taylor. Taylor averaging 2.7 a game.
Taylor with a good strong move, able to get all the way to the basket against the Herd defense.
And Marshall turning it over, and on the other end, basket good for Jackson State. Javius McKinnis, the team's leading scorer, coming in and flushing it through. 6-5 lead.
McKinnis ran the floor very well there, able to beat the Herd defenders back.
McKinnis out of Pearl, Mississippi, Southwestern Athletic Conference preseason Defensive Player of the Year, preseason All-Conference.
Mark watches Alabama's play. Marshall loves to get Tavion Kinsey the ball anywhere from 15 feet in, likes that little baseline jumper.
Tavion Kinsey works on the baseline, goes to Taylor. Taylor trying to feed down low, and Jackson State athletic there, and now the Tigers come up empty. Marshall the other way. Here is George. Taylor kicks it out. Kinsey rifles the three, and it won't go.
Strong rebound there by Javius McKinnis.
Tigers back to work offensively, leading it here 6-5. Shot from left of the key, and Dylan Taylor now with 4 points in the contest.
Taylor able to knock down the mid-range jump shot.
Michael Byers. He's Miladinovich, and Miladinovich will go in, and he will be fouled. 8-5 contest here in Huntington, and that's the third team foul on Jackson State here in this first half of action. 8-5 game, Jackson State on top of the Thundering Herd of Marshall. You're watching college basketball on ESPN Plus. We welcome you back inside the Cam Henderson Center. Marshall and Jackson State colliding here on a Sunday afternoon. Marshall in with a record of 2-1, and Jackson State at 0-3. 15-14 to go. Well, what have you seen so far, Bob Boland?
Well, Jackson State's been able to beat Marshall down the floor a few times and get some easy buckets. Marshall able to move the ball well, get the shots they want. They're still not falling, but Michael Byers was able to hit that three, and Marshall just needs a couple shots to fall to get back in the rhythm offensively.
Gordon Miladinovich at the line, missing his first attempt. Dan D'Antoni talking about this young man, says, boy, I told him the other day, I don't really know who you are, because he has just changed so much, gained 20 pounds, and puts the second one through, and we have ourselves an 8-6 contest here.
With Obina coming in the game for the Herd, coming off a tremendous outing in the last contest against Campbell. Had 5 points in the last minute and 30 seconds of the game. Almost single-handedly brought the Herd back to victory.
See the starting five for the two teams here. And when you talk about Obina and Achille Killen for Marshall, Dan D'Antoni says he is a starter. But you can only start 5.
Yes. And he's playing starters minutes. I believe he played 24 minutes in the last outing. And he gives the Herd athleticism from the big position, and he can also defend smaller guards.
He has 12 blocks on the season. 5th in the country in blocks. Kinsey couldn't get his shot to go, and now here's Jackson State back on the offensive end.
David Early also in the game for the Herd.
Got the Southern West Virginia connection, and the shot from the outside, and launching it and knocking it down. Ken Evans Jr. delivers.
Ken Evans for deep, and with the trouble the Herd's been having scoring the basketball, David early in the game now he's a scorer. Big, thick guard that can get to the basket, also knock down the three.
Ken Evans Jr. knocking down that three-pointer, hitting 44%. Now we have Tavion Kinsey at the free throw line here.
Yeah, I think they got Evans after hitting the three. Has some choice words for the Marshall bench and the officials showing early in the game. They are not going to put up with that. And you know, that's a crucial thing. You get a three, you got the momentum, and now technical foul. Marshall only hit 1 out of 2, but a chance for a 3 or even a 4-point play here for the Herd.
Great shot from high above here at the Cam Henderson Center. What a great venue for college basketball.
Oh, it sure is, Mark. Beautiful place to play. The seats are down on top of the court. Not a bad seat in the house, and a real enjoyable place to watch a game.
Now, since Coach Dan D'Antoni came back to his alma mater, just continues to want to tweak this place and make it one of the best college basketball venues around. Tavion Kinsey driving and scoring it there for Marshall to make it an 11-9 game. Kinsey coming in 17.7 a contest.
And he's so good at that floater going to the basketball because of his excellent leaping ability. He can jump over almost any defender and gets an easy look at the basket.
Shot from the top of the key, and stroking it is Chance Moore, who has checked in. Chance Moore, 6'8" junior out of Louisville, started his career at Wichita State.
And played for Beckley Prep.
Yeah, he sure did.
He played in the Scott Brown All-Star game a couple of years ago. Really highly skilled player, and has played at the next level, and they're expecting big things out of him, the Tigers are.
Scott Brown Classic, an all-star event that you had a big part in for many, many years.
A lot of good players been through there.
Darius George at the free throw line for the Thundering Herd and sinks the first. Again, George coming off a terrific outing the other night against Campbell Bob with 24 points.
Oh, he started the game off hitting 2 big threes and got some slam dunks on offensive rebounds as Marshall gets into their full court pressure. Haven't been all out on that pressure, just kind of token.
When he came in hitting 77.8% of his free throws, he was 6 of 6 the other night, knocks both of those down, makes it a 2-point game here at 13-12. Here's Moore looking for more after he got that bucket a minute ago.
Moore able to draw the contact with the Euro step, going to the line for 2.
Foul's got number 24, Tavion Kinsey, his first, and the team's first.
Yeah, Tavion Kinsey picking up the team's first foul of the game. Jackson State already with 5, so Moore will head to the line. Been perfect so far this season at the stripe and stays that way.
Out of the Tigers, number 11, Javius McInnes.
Javius McInnes has returned to the game. Terrence Lewis, the second, number 34, National Christian Academy, scored 54 points in a game during his career, and or could get the second one to go. He's in the game, and here is David Early, and Early kicks it out to Kinsey. 14-11 game. Kinsey, beautiful move.
Yeah, that's his game right there. He likes the spin. The spin dribble came back towards his right hand. Easy kiss off the glass, so he's done it from both sides of the court. Next time, look for him to come down the middle and shoot that little fadeaway.
Kinsey now with 5 in the game, and more. Gets it down low, and easy put up there for Terrence Lewis the second.
Early caught in the over-helping, but Early makes up for it on the other end, draining the big three-pointer, and that's what Marshall needs right now. Somebody to come in and help out with that outside shooting ability.
David Early drilling the three-pointer. So Early with his first points of the season. A little alley-oop action there, and Kinsey denied it. And here comes Kinsey down the floor. Early feeling it, rifles, and that one wouldn't go. Ball out of bounds, and it will stay with Marshall in a 16-16 game break in the action here at the Cam Henderson Center, Bob. And boy, a big three by Early.
And the next three he took right in, right in the flow of the game. Marshall had 2 offensive rebounders able to get the tip.
All right, and we break away here. Marshall and Jackson State even at 16. Okay, it's a 16-16 game here. Sweet 16 on a Sunday, long way from that time of year, Bob Boland.
Yeah, it is, but it'll be here before you know it, Mark, and that's the best time of year. Marshall on Alabama's under. Watch Kinsey lob out, and then here will come Kinsey on the mid-post, post-up.
Tavion Kinsey negotiating. Goes to Darius George. So George, Kinsey, Taylor, and Achille Killen, and Early out there for the Herd, and Taylor, tough shot, would not go for the Thundering Herd, and here comes Jackson State trying to break the tie here. Step back, rifling, and unable to go for Gabe Watson. And on the move, driving, and Darius George slams it through for the Herd to give Marshall the lead at 18-16.
Darius George way over the rim. I thought there was contact on that dunk also. Easily could have been a three-point play.
Jackson State on the offensive end. Gabe Watson, and the ball knocked away there. So Watson in the game, Jonas James the third in, Isaiah Williams number 13 in the contest, Chance Moore number 22, and also Javius McKinnis. There is Marshall head coach Dan D'Antoni and his great coaching staff.
Shot clock down to 12. So Jackson State will have to get it in and get into their set quickly.
Gabe Watson, 6'2" junior, and puts it up, wouldn't go. Rebound by McKinnis. McKinnis maneuvers, and he can't get it to drop. And Marshall comes out of there with it. Kinsey down to Taylor, and good quick hands by Jackson State. Marshall's ball.
When that ball gets on an OB under, Kinsey's telling everybody where to go, and that's great coaching to Kinsey. If he gets it within 15 feet of the basket, it's like an open shot because he can elevate over the defender, and that's what Marshall tries to do on a lot of Alabama's plays.
Ken Evans Jr. checking back in for Jackson State. Gabe Watson heads out. Here's Tavion Kinsey, and his shot would not drop, and going up there and snagging the missed opportunity is Chance Moore. Jackson State coming in, averaging 59.7 a game, allowing 72.7. Marshall averaging 80.3 per contest and giving up 71 points a game.
I see on the OB under for Jackson State, a lot of teams like to go to the opposite block out of this alignment right here.
Good look there at Isaiah Williams, and Kinsey draws the charge.
Easy call by the referee. Williams just dropped the left shoulder and just ran over Kinsey. Good defensive play by Tavion Kinsey.
Williams now has 2 fouls in the basketball game. Team foul number 6. Andy Taylor will bring it across the 10-second line for the Thundering Herd. Young man out of Corbin, Kentucky. He's turning out to be a nice player and feeding Obina and Achille Killen there.
Well, what a set play by the Herd to not get points out of that and then give up a 3 on the other end.
And coming around and knocking down the shot for Jackson State, number 21, Chris Freeman out of Winston-Salem.
Chris Freeman, good looking jumper, great elevation, beautiful follow through. My favorite BEEF acronym: balance, eyes, elbow, and follow through.
On the line,
So Tavion Kinsey back to the free throw line. Another foul here on Jackson State. Now 7 on the Tigers.
The lineup with number 15,
Marco Shaw-Renitz checking into the lineup for Marshall, wearing number 15. He's played some good basketball early on.
He's played tremendously so far. Big shots down the stretch in the Herd's wins, and going with David early in the game, and David Early's contributed here so far. So Coach D'Antoni going to a little different substitute pattern after the last loss.
19-19 game here between Marshall and Jackson State. And we have a whistle and a foul. Another offensive foul. Chance Moore, the guilty party, Bob.
And again for the Herd, there's David Early making another positive play, taking the charge. And well, a lot of times when a guy takes a good charge like that, it's good to go to them. Well, there he was, good help outside of the restricted area. Easy call for the official.
Tavion Kinsey working it for Marshall, zips it to Early. Early wanting to attack. George, a lot of dribbling there, ball loose, and Shaw-Renitz keeps it alive, and Kinsey will score it for the Herd.
Give Shaw-Renitz half of that basket. Great hustle play by the young man, able to get the assist off the seat of his pants.
8 points in the game for Tavion Kinsey. Marshall by a bucket here. Great play by Kinsey, showing that leaping ability, athleticism, but we will have a foul here on the Thundering Herd.
David Early, trying to get the most out of his minutes. He didn't get in last game, and boy, he's taking charges, aggressive on the offensive end. He's really playing well for the Thundering Herd.
Coach D'Antoni says his game is growing. He played a lot last year as a freshman from way outside. Watson can't get it to drop, but another opportunity here for Jackson State, and weaving around and denied there was Evans Jr.
And he stepped out. Obina came over early, got beat on the dribble. Obina came over, great block shot. Then on the pivot and the outlet pass, he dropped his off foot back and able to step on the sideline. Great block by Obina. And right here, the left foot, the left heel caught the Alabama's line.
Tigers working it. Down low and dropping it through is Javius McInnes.
Mark McInnes is a load down there. He's quick off of his feet. He's got some weight to support himself, and he's tough around that basket.
Came in averaging 13.7 a game. Team's leading scorer. 9.3 rebounds a contest. Game tied up at 21.
This is a lineup for Marshall with 5 people that can step outside the three-point line and play effectively off of the bounce.
A nice pass there, and this game's been tied 4 times. We're even at 21. Jackson State and Marshall here on ESPN+.
Because healthcare should be easier, Highmark is changing. They are creating a smoother, simplified experience. It's healthcare that goes beyond care.
Well, we were looking over stats during our break, Bob Bolin, and about as even as you can get it.
Yeah, everything's even except the bench points. Jackson State's up 8-3 on bench points, but other than that, everything as you would expect in a tie game. About everything equal, except one thing, Mark. Marshall's the only venue in the country that plays hot stuff from our era during the timeout.
All right, so Obina and Achille Killen at the line for the Thundering Herd with his first basket of the game. And knocks in both free throws for the Thundering Herd. Coming in Very good free throw shooter, 87.5.
Marshall staying with their quarter court man-to-man defense. They're not helping in the low post, which is traditional Marshall basketball.
McKinnis trying to back in here against Anachili Killen. Have a whistle underneath.
The referee saying the ball hit the support behind the basket. Coach D'Antoni saying it hit the side of the backboard, and the side of the backboard is in play. It hits the support behind it, it's out of play, but I don't see too many supports back there, Mark. Oh, and that was a 3-point advantage for Jackson State there on the inbounds play with the shot clock down. Great play by Jackson State.
And Watson delivers. Watson with his first points of the basketball game, and Jackson State back in the lead. And here is George answering with a slam dunk. George was 6.
Tavion Kinsey with the drive, drew the defenders, able to hit George flashing down the middle for the Thunder's dunk.
Watson got that bucket a minute ago, and now this time wants to attack the basket and cut off there, but a whistle and a foul on Marshall. That will be David Early. Picks up his second and his team foul number 3. Watson couldn't get it to go, and Obina Anachili Killen gathers it in.
They tried the same out-of-bounds play that got Watson the 3-point possession previous. David Early, yeah, playing well, and when you play well, you get rewarded with more minutes. That's just how it works.
Here is Early releasing, and Jackson State will run it down. McKinnis gets it, and it will have Dylan Taylor bringing it across the timeline. Marshall up by 1. Ken Evans Jr. feeding down low. Nice snag there by McKinnis, and couldn't get it to drop and try to keep it alive, but Kinsey chases it down, feeds, and how about George and Tavion Kinsey hooking up. George now with 8 in the game. Marshall by 3.
Marshall did that with a 4-on-5. Sharenis was putting his shoe on in the backcourt.
On the move, and Anachili Killen with another block as Taylor drove in. So David Early is checking out of the game. So Taylor's back in for Marshall.
This is a spot where Jackson State really has to be careful. The Herd getting a little momentum going. They need big outside shots like they got
right there.
Yeah. Gabe Watson, he has a stroke from deep, Mark. Quick release, great elevation. He knocks down 3-point shots. He is a bucket getter.
Well, he played in Conference USA at Southern Miss. Started his career at Tulane. And wow, how about Marco Shaw-Renitz?
Shaw-Renitz is developing into the 3-point shooter. Marshall's got to have somebody that goes out and makes shots. And Shaw-Renitz has been the most consistent this year of making deep 3-point shots.
And he's a guy that Dan D'Antoni says, has just really improved his ability to be decisive out there on the court.
And when your 3-point percentage goes up, it's easy to be decisive.
All right, they work it down low. How about Terrence Lewis the second there? He's got 4 points now in the game.
Great interior passing, which is a lost art in college basketball. Not the easiest thing to do. You know, one pass to another when you're 3 feet apart, and the receiver of the pass is thinking about going for the offensive rebound, able to gather it and put it in the basket.
Tight game here at 30-29 under the 4-minute mark here at the Cam Henderson Center.
Watson ready for another release over here.
Shot up and no good by Ken Evans Jr. Ball out of bounds, and it will be Marshall's basketball. We have a break in the action here. Jackson State and the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Third meeting all time. Marshall leads the series 2-0. We're back with this game 3 in a moment on We welcome you back inside the Cam Henderson Center. Marshall 30 and Jackson State 29. A little slugfest going here on a Sunday afternoon, Bob Bowler.
Oh, it is. And when you think about Jackson State, they're opening the season with 12 consecutive road games. And that's not easy to do. They're just returning from a trip to California. And to come in here and they battled the Herd the first 16 minutes and 16 and a half minutes of this game, tooth and nail.
Coach Wayne Brent there, one of the most successful coaches in the Jackson Public Schools system. Bob, you can certainly appreciate his career. You started as a high school coach, moved to the collegiate level, and that's what he's done.
Yes, he has. He's done a great job with limited resources at times.
Jackson State driving down the floor, and they come up empty. Wyatt Fricks, number 11 in the game. Young man out of Winder, Georgia for the Thundering Herd. Wears, again, that jersey number 11. Bina and Chili Killen wheeling around, gets it to George, and George can't get it to drop. George and Kinsey each with 8. Watson leads the way for Jackson State with 6.
Mark, I'm able to spend about 30 minutes each game with Coach D'Antoni pregame. Beautiful block shot by Obina. And he said he wanted to try to get Frick some minutes because he's really been practicing well.
Well, that's how you reward guys.
Davion Kinsey again able to get a close shot to the basket and use his leaping ability. Kinsey's having a good game right now for Marshall. Already hit double figure.
Tavion Kinsey now 38 consecutive games here at Marshall in double figures. Thundering Herd 32, Jackson State 29, and the shot is short for Terrence Lewis II out of Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Kinsey down low and elevating and scoring is Obina and Chili Killen, his first field goal of the game, and they'll go to the line as Marshall stretches out its lead to 5.
Great body control by Obina, able to hang in the air and kind of tip that in a reverse angle. Not the easiest catch in the world, and Obina again today, Mark, big minutes for the Herd.
Played his high school basketball at Chapmanville Regional here in the great mountain state of West Virginia. A lot of West Virginians on this Marshall roster under another West Virginia native, Dan D'Antoni. He's got 2 West Virginia natives on his coaching staff, but 8 players in all hail from the Mountain State. And Jackson State trying to keep it close here as we get bit closer to halftime, but they come up empty there, and here's Taylor with a beautiful pass and the bucket by George on the other end. George now has 10 in the game. Marshall 36, Jackson State 29.
Great body control by Darius George, able to hang in the air and put that lob in. Marshall up 7.
Jamarcus Jones working it there.
And Javius McInnes again using that strong upper body, able to draw a foul against the Thundering Herd. This catch. Oh, that's body control. And you see where Andy Taylor threw that ball? He threw that ball straddling half court. That is not an easy lob to throw.
Shot up and in for McInnes. McInnes on the season, a 75% free throw shooter. Young man wants to be a district attorney one day. Get those preseason accolades. The Southwestern Athletic Conference. Boy, there's some great programs and great schools in that league.
Yes, there are.
36-31 after the 2 free throws are made by Jackson State. They are 3 of 4 at the line. Here's Taylor. His shot wouldn't go through, and the ball goes out of bounds. Marshall will keep it.
And Marshall, after starting Miladinovich and Byers at the 4 or 5 position, have went with a smaller, quicker lineup after the first media timeout at the 16-minute mark.
Taylor to Kinsey, and here is Anachili Killen from inside the free throw circle, knocking down his second field goal of the contest. He has 6 in the game. Marshall by 7 as we go into a minute to play here.
That mid-range game for Obina just keeps getting better.
Darian Wilson, number 12, in the game for this Jackson State team, and there is a three-pointer, the second of the game for Evans, and they have 5 now in the game.
Watch out for Fricks on this play. Wide Fricks, the defense has been sucked in, and he is a deadly three-point shooter. Watch for him getting a 3 at the buzzer here.
Andy Taylor with it on the move.
They had Fricks over here in the corner. One more.
Bina Anachili Killen tries to knock it through, won't go. Jackson State snags the rebound, and the shot is lifted up.
Has any effect on the start of the second half?
Good look there at Tavion Kinsey, a young man that they feel will be in the NBA one day. And this Jackson State program, they lost a great one in Tristan Jarrett. He's a part of the NBA G League. First player in Jackson State basketball program history to be taking in the NBA Developmental League draft. So what an honor for him, and a big plus for the program.
Yes, it is. That helps recruiting too, Mark.
Now Marshall up empty the first time it had the basketball, and same for the Tigers of Jackson State. And now back comes Marshall on the offensive end.
Both teams have been in a half-court, man-to-man defense. They've been playing the exact same way the entire game.
Andy Taylor down to Obina, Anachili Killen. So it's Anachili Killen, Kinsey, Darius George, Marco Sharinitz, and Andy Taylor starting it out for the Herd here in this second half. And for Jackson State, they got Isaiah Williams on the floor, Ken Evans Jr., Dylan Taylor, who hit that big shot there at the end of the half, and Javius McInnes. And here is the pass into Anachili Killen.
Obina not able to connect on that second free throw. Marshall defended the back pick for the dunk very well there.
Driving in here and off the glass, wouldn't go for Ken Evans Jr., but McInnes is there with the follow. McInnes has 8, and Darius George has 12.
And one dunk traded for another.
41-39 on the move is Dylan Taylor, and that one goes out of bounds.
Marshall starting a different lineup than they started the game with. They got Obina in there to start the second half. He gave Marshall good minutes the first half.
Jonas James III, he is the other starter there for Jackson State here in this second half. 2-point game. And good defense there by Jackson State, but Kinsey comes right back with it for the Thundering Herd of Marshall.
And the referees are checking the shot clock. I thought the shot clock had it right. I thought it was a change of possession to Jackson State, and then they turned it back over to Marshall. So they reset the shot clock twice. And I think the shot clock keeper got that right.
Review for the shot clock.
And again, 7 lead changes in this game, 5 ties.
10 seconds left on the shot clock.
And they're taking the shot clock down to 10. So they're thinking that there was not a steal there. I thought there was.
Jackson State preseason poll, number 3 pick in Southwestern Athletic Conference. Marshall 4th in Conference USA. Thundering Herd missing, but they keep things moving here offensively.
Obina again getting Marshall another shot attempt, and Tavion Kinsey with the jumper and the opportunity for an and one.
Kinsey, after that was over, almost did a split there.
Oh, that's just a huge play, and the play started by Obina. a hustle play to save the ball from going out of bounds, and offensive rebound gives Marshall another chance. And I mean, look how big that could be, Mark. It could be a 5-point lead if he hits this free throw. Without the hustle for Obina, Jackson State would have the ball going the other way with a chance to take the lead. So those are called winning plays.
Oh, finally goes through, hangs around forever before it decides to drop. 13 in the game for Kinsey. Kinsey has been terrific at the free throw line heading into this game, 91.3%. Marshall 44-39, spinning and losing the basketball there was Isaiah Williams. Marshall on the other end, and Kinsey goes high into the air and sticks that one off the glass and in. Timeout on the floor.
Well, I had the feeling that coming out late, Jackson State, that Marshall would have the opportunity to jump on him, and they sure have taken advantage of it.
Tavion Kinsey skying off the glass and in. He has 15 in the game, and Marshall leads it here over Jackson State at 46-39. Thundering Herd looking for win number 3 of the season. Jackson State, its first of the campaign. We will return to Cam Henderson. Great to have you back with us here on ESPN Plus, NCAA men's basketball, and Marshall is the biggest lead of the game, Bob Boland.
A 7-0 run over the last minute 15. It all started with an offensive rebound by Obina, and that got Marshall going, and Jackson State coming out a little cold to start the second half.
Tavion Kinsey has 15 for the Thundering Herd. Darius George also in double figures with 12. A lot of players have scored for Jackson State. No one in double figures at the moment. And Jonas James III stepping on the line. His parents, Bridget and Jonas, also attending Jackson State. 19 points in a game a year ago against Alcorn.
JJ Trey.
Yes.
JJ Trey.
Started 17 games. Of course, they were hit hard by COVID a year ago, and boy, as were a lot of teams.
Marshall again have been in their quarter court man-to-man since the tip-off.
So the Tigers trying to claw back into it now as we have this biggest lead of the game, and a nice drive there and putting it up. William McKenna showing his game right there, Bob.
Long arms, strong upper body, able to get to that little left-hand jump hook, and McKenna is a load in the paint for the Thundering Herd to handle.
He has 10 in the game now, so we do now have that first double-figure score of the contest. And here is Anna Chili Killen getting the shooter's roll.
Anna Chili Killen says, you do it on that end, I'll come back on this end. Did it a little differently. Killen with a 12-foot little fadeaway jumper there.
He has 9 in the game. Chance Moore gets it to Isaiah Williams. Ken Evans Jr. from the outside. Can't get it to drop as it hits the back of the iron, and Kinsey will bring it across the 10-second line for Dan D'Antoni's Thundering Herd. Down low to Anna Chili Killen, and a foul will be called against the Tigers of Jackson State.
Great look inside by Marshall. They're exploiting the half of the court without the help side defense, and they're really taking advantage of the situation Jackson State's put in.
All right, Bob, we got a break here in the action between Marshall and Jackson State. Thundering Herd by 7. We welcome you back inside the Cam Henderson Center as Marshall and Jackson State do battle here on ESPN Plus. Bob Olin, one thing that kind of jumped out at us for Marshall, discipline. Only a few fouls here in this game.
And they've been consistently doing that this season. Marshall does not they don't take unnecessary fouls. They foul when the other team is going to get an easy shot, as Obina misses the first free throw.
Obina and Chili Killen with 9 points in the basketball game. and swishes the second one. So Anna Killen now at the line today. 3 of 5, and he too is now in double figures for the Thundering Herd. So now 3 players in double figures. Marshall with the biggest lead of the game now at 8, driving Chance Moore, and his chance of getting the bucket there denied.
Chance Moore, a $50 move with a 5-cent finish.
Andy Taylor going to penetrate there. There is Darius George playing so well for Marshall.
Coach D'Antoni started Miladinovich and Byers, and Miladinovich played 5 minutes and Byers played 2 minutes. And Coach D'Antoni elected to go with a smaller lineup, and it's paid dividends so far.
So another foul on the Jackson State Tigers. Marshall's basketball. Andy Taylor will trigger it in. Tavion Kinsey working with 15 points at the moment. Fighting his way into the lane, and Jackson State stopping that opportunity by the Thundering Herd senior standout. From the outside, Watson, who had 2 threes in the first half, misses there, and Marshall back to work. Taylor to George, and gets it to drop through.
Acrobatic play by Darius George.
George moving to 14 points in the game. Double-digit lead for the Thundering Herd at 51-41. And again, Jackson State can't get a bucket there as Williams missed.
Marshall on a 12-2 run the last 4:45 of the game.
Taylor lifting it up to Obina and Killen. He hits the deck. Foul will be called on Jackson State.
Now Jackson State only 2 for 8 this half, 0 for 2 3-pointers. And after going 6 for 13 the first half. No, I'm sorry, 6 for 11 behind the arc the first half. Some of that has to do with not getting out there at halftime and getting a few shots up.
Isaiah Williams now with 4 fouls in the game. And Killen will get the free throw to drop, so Williams will check out, and checking back into the game for Jackson State, number 21, Chris Freeman, 6'6" graduate student out of Winston-Salem. Freeman had a 3-pointer in that first half. 52-41 our score here. Watson step back, rifles, and scores it. So Watson now with 8 in the game. Boy, that was much needed.
Oh, Jackson State needed a bucket there. Watson able to hit baskets from odd angles. Great finisher.
Again, he led Conference USA in minutes played, while that Southern Miss 38 per game, and Obina and Killen finishing things up there and puts it through for the Herd.
Obina, such great timing around the rim on those tip-ins.
He has added 15 pounds. Season opening win over Wright State. Head coach Dan D'Antoni felt he'd played his best basketball at Marshall, of course now in his second season, and I'm sure he's going to say that a lot as we move along.
And then look at David Early. Again, the team played well when he was in the game first half. He's getting rewarded with more minutes the second half. And that's usually how it works. The harder you work and the better you play, the more minutes you get.
Jackson State down 11 here. Trying to stay within striking distance of the Thundering Herd. Watson penetrated there, and a whistle. And that's going to be on Early. That's his 3rd of the game.
And the home crowd not agreeing with that. And the referee deemed that Early was riding him and going into him down the lane. Therefore called the blocking foul on David Early.
Chance Moore guns a 3 and knocks it through. Big shot there by Moore. His first 3 of the game. He now has 6 in the contest, and that trims the Marshall lead to 8.
Chance Moore, excellent three-point shooter, good length at 6'6".
Well, they are 7 of 14 from the three-point line, and Marshall now guns in its 4th of the basketball game as Taylor connects.
Yeah, Andy Taylor's been cold the past couple games, able to knock that three down. Usually for a great shooter like him, when you see it go through the net, your confidence goes up. Just like Chance Moore here trying to take Tavion Kinsey. Good defense by Tavion.
Here's Watson. He displayed his range in that first half, and boy, what a beauty there by Watson on the baseline.
Yeah, he gets buckets. A fadeaway going to the right for a right-hander is a very difficult shot.
So Watson has 10, and Jackson State getting that lead to 9. Here's Watson, step back three this time, and counted for Watson.
Yeah. Stepping back going right, and now stepping back going left. Watson knocks down the hard three-point shot. Lead down to 6.
Watson with 13 in the game. Came in averaging 7. And from way out, Marshall can't get it to drop, and the Tigers with a chance to draw closer to the Thundering Herd here. Gabe Watson, the junior. Shot up and good. Boy, they've caught fire here as Moore connects.
Yeah, Chance Moore and Watson taking the scoring load on for the Tigers.
Moore again started his career at Wichita State, a 4-star recruit. Talked about him playing some high school prep ball in the mountain state of West Virginia here, down in the southern part of the state. Ball knocked out of bounds. We're going to have a break in the action here. Marshall and Jackson State Herd had it up to 11, and Jackson State has closed the gap, Bob, at 57-53 with 10:52 to go.
Well, when they come back, Marshall will have 13 on the shot clock.
All right, from the cam. And we welcome you back here to Huntington. It's college basketball on ESPN Plus. Great to have you with us. And it's Marshall and Jackson State. And how about Gabe Watson, Bob Boland?
Gabe Watson hitting the big three at the top of the key, and then the little step back for the deuce going right. Jackson State on a 7-0 run the last minute and 8. They've hit their last 5 shots as the shot clock is down below 10 for the Herd.
And here is Tavion Kinsey, and picked off there by Jackson State as McKinnis stepped in front of the pass, and from the corner the shot is up, and a foul is going to be called. And
that's going to be on Wyatt Fricks, fouling the three-point shooter, the young freshman just getting in the game. And you know, that's a cardinal sin in basketball. Do not foul the three-point shooter.
And that's going to put Freeman at the line. Freeman transferred from the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley.
Now, Mark, you do well in practice, and the coach wants to reward you, but then when you come into the game, it's got to carry over. And if it doesn't carry over, you know, Frick's just getting in the game, out of control in the three-point shooter, and you know, you can't make mental mistakes like that. And I think Fricks is going to be a really, really good player. He has length and he has three-point shooting ability.
And Coach D'Antoni commenting on just how versatile he is. So Chris Freeman gets 2 of 3 there. So Freeman has come into the game today for Jackson State and scored 5 points, and the shot by George won't go, and Jackson State a chance to tie it up, take the lead. Driving, scoring is Evans. Check that, James the third, number 3, and
it's tied.
Well,
I don't know what they call it.
Another look here.
Oh, may have been a traveling call.
Okay, so score stays at 57-55 instead of the game being tied. Andy Taylor comes through with his 7th point of the game and gives Marshall a 4-point edge.
Going full speed and then having to slow up to shoot that floater, a very difficult shot by the Sheriff. Huge turnaround, going from a tie game to the Herd up 4.
Wayne Brent, graduate of the University of Louisiana Monroe, and His coaching staff consisting of Kason Burke, Sean Dixon, and Christopher Woodall, and Marshall on the other end. Good D, and Tavion Kinsey puts it through. Kinsey now with 17 in the game, and Marshall up 61-55.
Not only does Watson have good step backs, he's smart too. He didn't jump with Kinsey on that dunk. When you see it's Tavion Kinsey, if you jump with him, something's coming down on your head.
Of course, he's got Rijo, Cornelius Jackson, Mark Klein, the assistants for Dan D'Antoni, and really just great coaching staffs in this game.
Oh, yes, they are. The coaches at Marshall, Corny Jackson, Mark Klein, great West Virginia high school players. I mean, they were as good as you can get. As Fricks comes over and makes up for his foul, the three-point shooter, and gets a good piece of the block shot.
Well, more shot off target here, and coming down the other way is Taylor. His layup wouldn't go. And
McKinnis throwing that out there with authority.
Yeah. And here is Watson. He's been deadly, and his range continues.
With a jab step, the defender just rocked back a little bit on his heels, and Watson with the quick trigger.
61-58, Fricks outside with it. Now down low here, putting up the shot and getting it to go is Emmerich Toussaint, who's in the game for the first time. The young man out of Reunion Island. Real efficient game, according to Coach D'Antoni, about this young man. Just a freshman.
Conference realignment. They haven't missed a beat, and hope Jeff O'Malley gets consideration for that AD job when the time comes.
And we wish both of those football teams the best of luck this coming weekend, with big games coming up, and a great weekend for college football on Thanksgiving weekend. But it's also a great week for college basketball. Boy, would you start hitting the holidays.
Oh, now can I try to throw you off again? Tryptophan. Tryptophan. That's what I'm going to do on Thursday. When you eat too much turkey, the chemical in turkey called tryptophan makes you sleepy. I'm just going to be sleepy and watch sports for 3 straight days.
There you go, buddy. That sounds like a plan.
I knew you knew tryptophan.
All right, you see Chance Moore at the line. It's the first free throw, and sinks this one.
Mark, when you're coaching, some tournaments are Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, sure.
And you got to realize you don't eat turkey as a pregame meal. Your players will be out there in slow motion, ready to go to sleep.
All right, Thundering Herd leading it here, 63-59. Now you got me hungry. Thinking about Thanksgiving Day now. But here is Kinsey driving in and could not get it to drop, draws the foul.
Mark, he just floats in there.
Sure does.
I mean, he can just move the ball around, and I mean, watch that. He just hangs around longer than everybody else.
When he first arrived at Marshall, just so many impressed with his leaping ability, and the game has just evolved for him, and made the decision, wanted to come back and keep playing college basketball and keep growing that game.
Which is a smart decision. Well, you only get to go to college one time, and it will increase his chances of where he plays at the next level.
Could not get that one to go, but the young man out of Columbus, Ohio.
And Mark, I've been reading things. Some people think he has a chance in the NBA. Some people don't. Only one team has to like you. Just
That's
one.
right, that's right.
Just one.
Just need one individual to give you a chance. It's all it takes in life for anything. And Dylan Taylor bringing the basketball up court to tailor-made right here. You got Dylan Taylor and Andy Taylor going at it, as they've done throughout the day. And Taylor pokes it from behind. Marshall's version of Taylor.
I believe I could have done the play-by-play on that. Taylor smacks it away from Taylor. I'm trying to get your job, Mark.
All right, we got a break in the action. Thundering Herd and Coach D'Antoni's staff huddling, and Jackson State and Coach Wayne Brent there will talk it over. Jackson State looking for that first win of the season, and Marshall trying to get to 3-1 on the campaign. It's a 64-59 game here at the camp. Jackson State and Marshall doing battle here at the Cam Henderson Center, and Tavion Kinsey having another outstanding game for Dan D'Antoni's Thundering Herd.
When Tavion Kinsey gets out on the break, it's just got to be heads out of the way because he's going to that rim for the dunk.
Kinsey, the game's top scorer with 18. Darius George has 14. Obina Anachili Killen has 13 for the Thundering Herd. Gabe Watson has 16 off the bench for Jackson State. Here is Watson again. Just as we speak of the young man, he buries another 3, 5 in the game.
Mark, he hesitated, head faked, and then got into his shot. I mean, he's a bucket getter. He can score from all 3 levels, the 3, the mid-range, and he gets all the way to the basket. Again, Tavion Kinsey driving, drawing 3 defenders, able to get the foul, was shooting 91% before this game, and he's missed a few today, but he'll get up there, and he's made himself into a tremendous free throw shooter.
So Watson has 18 in the game. I'll correct myself. He has 4 3-pointers, 4 of 8. And Kinsey at the line, can't get it to drop. 3-point game here between Marshall and Jackson State. 3rd meeting all time. Marshall winning in 2010, and then Dan D'Antoni picking up one of his 130 victories here at Marshall. And here's Watson again trying to tie this game up, but they get another chance here, and off the miss and unable to get it to go was Freeman, and Marshall will now attack offensively.
Well, Marshall's made an adjustment. They put Tavion Kinsey on Watson with no help responsibilities. If you watch this as they get a push off on the Thundering Herd, but they started last possession. Kinsey has no help. He's guarding Watson, and Watson shot that, as I like to say, from the Stephen P. New suite. That's as far as you can get out. The great suites here at Marshall University. Look at Kinsey, face guarding, no help. He's not even looking at the ball. They want to take Watson out of this game.
Chance Moore maneuvering, and Anachili Killen got a piece of that from behind, and I believe Moore stepped out. Indeed he did.
Yes, he did. And you know, those are those little adjustments during the game that you may not pay attention to, but that's what the Herd's doing. We're going to take him out of the game. You other 4 beat us. Look, Obina's out of position, but the athletic ability, he gets right back into the play. Again, Obina on the defensive end, causing havoc.
Andy Taylor penetrates. Here's Kinsey elevating and swishing it through. Tavion Kinsey connects for Marshall.
When Marshall needs a basket, that's their go-to play. Tavion Kinsey in the mid-post area. Back to the basket about 15 feet out. He's very hard to stop there.
He is the game's top scorer with 20, and right here is Watson trying to tie him for game scoring honors, but Watson is denied. Marshall with the 5-point cushion here. What a look by Taylor. Marshall unable to convert though.
And Mark, that was Obina again with a block shot. He may be chasing Jansen Williams' block shot record before he gets out of the green and white. Great timing.
Tigers on the attack here, and this is Evans. Ken Evans Jr. His shot is short.
Well, that's 3 possessions that Watson hasn't touched the ball.
A scramble for the basketball, and
he's upset. It was his own teammate that ran into him. Evans, I believe, thought he got fouled. It's his own teammate, I believe, Mark, that ran into him and created the traveling call.
So Evans going to head out of the game. Right now they have Taylor, their number 10. McKinnis, number 11. And it is Kinsey again.
That's what I'll tell you about each time, Mark. The Alabama's plays are geared to get Tavion Kinsey extra shots. And it happens every game. Coach D'Antoni's able to orchestrate 3 or 4 shot attempts a game for Kinsey on Alabama's plays.
Kinsey now with 22 in the game. So he is over 20 in his career for the 24th time here at Marshall. What a career. And still a lot of basketball to be played. And Anna Chili killing with the block. George Taylor long distance.
Jackson State needs to find Watson and get him the ball early. Early behind the three. They're just letting Marshall let Kinsey take him out of the game, and they don't have people that can score like Watson can score.
Javius McInnes there couldn't get the shot to drop and have a whistle here.
Mark, in a situation like that, you either give Watson the ball on this side of the half court and spread for him, or you use Watson as a decoy. Kinsey is face guarding him. If Watson would set a ball pick, he would pick Kinsey and the other defender, and they could go for a layup. But when somebody starts face guarding one of your players, that's the two things you do, and Jackson State yet to do either one of those.
David Early, Andy Taylor, Vina and Chili Killen are in there as Taylor scores for the Thundering Herd.
And that's
played a nice game.
Yeah, it's a 6-0 run the last 2 minutes for Marshall right here at crunch time.
Taylor now with 9 in the contest. Shot from straight away. Watson can't get it to go, and going up high and securing it is Tavion Kinsey. Darius George, David Early, Kinsey, Taylor, and Abida. And a Chili Killen, and here is Early. Can't get it to drop, but good hustle there by George.
The quickness going to the rebound. Marshall with not their biggest team in there, but they're doing a great job on the boards.
And Chili Killen trying to give the Thundering Herd a double-digit lead again. Couldn't get it to drop, but a foul will be called against the Tigers of Jackson State.
And Mark, I think that was a result-oriented foul, where the referee waited to see if the basket went in. When it didn't go in, he called the foul. That's what he's explaining to the coach. And I wasn't going to call it, but there was a bump. It caused him to miss the shot. So a lot of fans don't like it, but it's a result-oriented foul, and I like that call.
All right, there's a timeout on the floor here in Huntington. Cam Henderson center, the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Obina and a Chili Killen. Little block party today for the Thundering Herd. Marshall leads it by 9 over Jackson State. Great shot of the Cam Henderson center here. This is college men's basketball on ESPN Plus. Great to have you with us on a Sunday afternoon. Great excitement here. Marshall in the lead over Jackson State by 9, Bob Boland.
Big stats for you here, Mark Martin. Points in the paint. Marshall 34-16 advantage, and Marshall doesn't throw it into the paint. You know, they get it into the paint off the bounce. And in block shots, there was a technical called earlier against Jackson State. Block shots, Marshall has a 13-1 advantage. Obina and a Chili Killen, Mark, has 9 block shots. You mentioned block party a minute ago, 9. We got to look up the school record on that. Got to be coming close, but he is 1 block shot and 3 rebounds away from his first triple-double.
Goodness. He's going to go to the line here for the Thundering Herd. And he connects. And Marshall up now by a 74-61 count. So Kinsey with 24 points in the game. And a Chili Killen with 15, 74-61. And we have foul on Darius George. So Jackson State, they have battled Marshall throughout this afternoon. Right now, staring at this deficit, trying to find a way to get it whittled down here, but unfortunately they come up empty there on that offensive set. Here's Kinsey. What a pass to Anachili-Killen. Can't get it to go. Follows again, and then Taylor keeps it alive underneath. Ball out of bounds. Marshall will have it.
Great hustle play by by Obina, and also by the Sheriff, Andy Taylor, getting extra possessions for the Herd. There's the out of bounds play again. Oh, great hustle by Obina on the tip in.
They may have given that to George.
Oh, did they? I'm sorry.
Now they're both there.
Yeah.
They were both skying. And again, Jackson State now they get a bucket to go there as Freeman scores it.
Chris Freeman out of Winston-Salem had a good game tonight.
7 points for Freeman. Here is Anachili-Killen with the three. Wouldn't go, but boy, Taylor's just everywhere.
What's that point guard doing in their offensive rebounding? Andy Taylor, you know, he's got good size. He's a 6'3" point guard, able to hold his own on the offensive end on the rebounding.
78-63, twisting and turning and unable to get something to go there was Chance Moore. Nice look there from Kinsey, and George was not going to be stopped.
There is George exploding to the basket. Marshall up 17, and it all changed when Coach D'Antoni made the subtle change of putting Tavion Kinsey on Gabe Watson and completely shut Watson down.
Darius George now with 18 in the game. Break here in the action. 17-point advantage for the Thundering Herd of Marshall over the Tigers of Jackson State.
Tigers number 34, or rather 31, make a jump. And Dylan Taylor. Fans, don't forget the Herd returns action is coming to tonight, 7 o'clock. Louisiana Matchdown.
Above Bowling, it's an 80-63 game here, and the Thundering Herd of Marshall need to hang on here. They got another big game coming up. They take on Louisiana. That contest will be on Tuesday.
Oh yes, a great time in the schedule for the Thundering Herd. I thought Obina, oh, that tip in was by George.
Yeah.
Obina is 2 rebounds away from a triple-double. He has 10 block shots.
And we mentioned earlier that this Jackson State team, they're going to play Indiana, which Marshall will face off with the Hoosiers next weekend in Bloomington. Well, that's going to put at the line Evans. Evans has 6 in the game here for Jackson State. Another look here.
Hassan Whiteside, Mark, had 13 blocks in 2010 for the school record. The last time a player had 7 blocks for Marshall was Jansen Williams in 2019, and Obina has 10 block shots tonight. So Obina putting his name into the Herd record book today.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Outstanding performance by the young man who played at Chapmanville Regional High School, not too far from here in Huntington. And he has helped Marshall build up this double-digit lead that right now is at 82-64. Andy Taylor just dribbling there in the state of West Virginia map. Really great logo there in the middle of the court here at the Henderson Center. There's Taylor on the move, flips it up, and
yeah, 2 guys going for the lob, and they get the offensive foul against Marshall. While we got a break here, I'd just like to thank our producer, Nick Apria, and the gang back there. Boy, they get us stats quick, and coming with Hassan Whiteside and 13 blocks, and boy, they get stuff to us, make us look good, Mark.
Yeah, they've had a busy day. They've had NCAA soccer, Providence and Marshall. They've had a lot going on today, and so outstanding work to our crew here, and another enjoyable basketball game inside the Cam Henderson Center as time is winding down. Shot from the corner, no good from Colty Young, who has checked in.
And Obina snags that rebound for number 9. I believe I'd throw one off the backboard and let him get the rebound. Hey, a big man getting a triple-double with blocks, that doesn't happen, Mark. That doesn't happen once every 4 or 5 years for a team.
Well, hats off to this Jackson State team. They battled Marshall here today.
They did. They just, came out, didn't get a good sweat going to start the second half. Marshall jumped on them and then was able to carry it out.
And it was 38-37, the Marshall lead at halftime, and seconds winding down here. Thundering Herd going to improve to 3-1. Colty Young will put it in. His first bucket of the game. Young man out of Starkville, Mississippi, played on 2 state title teams in the state, but on this Sunday afternoon,